shouldn't be. So they end up running 99 yards the other way. We take you back to the beginning. So we're going to snap the ball, and I'll slow it down about when I think the play is over is about right there. You can see this strip while the player is on the ground. I suppose there's a chance that ball was loose. We broke this down and saw that the umpire pulling his whistle up, but he must not have blown that whistle, maybe thinking he didn't have forward progress and the wing should have had it. This is obviously a play where the wing he may have trouble seeing what's going on, not sure if the play's over, and then the ball pops out. You can see him set up here, not really sure what happened. Anybody got anything on the panel here that can help us out here? To not incorrectly go 99 yards the other way.
Well, the only thing I can see on this video is that it looks like the umpire is about ready to blow. It looks like he brings that whistle up to his mouth. And the R is just a little anxious. He thinks the play is over as well. So he's looking to the wing to see whether or not we've got a touchdown or another down.
So you think if the R maybe kept his eyes on the action in the middle?
I think the R probably should have just stayed where he was. There's no need for him to move up on this play. He stays where he's at, right there. He's in better position. However, you notice now he's starting to look over to the wing.
Anybody else got anything that can help us not run 99 yards the other way for no reason? Because I do believe they brought this back.
Well, let's hope so.
All right, let's run the next one. All right, we're going to snap it from the 2-yard line. I have this written down as a textbook wing mechanic here at the top of the screen, except I have been corrected by my panel. Nate, what did you have on that head linesman here?
Well, the head linesman's on the field to start the play. He needs to be back off the field. As a wing, we don't need to be on the field when the ball's live.
I guess if you want to be on the field, you can be an umpire, maybe? Yeah, good point. We need to start off the field, especially at the goal line. And then our movement is 45 degree to that pylon to stay wide in case they come your way.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is kick over the pylon as the ball's coming toward you.
So one of the things I do when I work a wing, guys, is I'd like to start off a yard off the sideline. So I think of that sideline as a fence, and I have to stay behind that fence. So start off a yard every play.
Yeah, and I agree with Mark and Nate, especially in this case where they're on your hash. So the field is compressed. They're more in your lap than if they're on the other hash.
So, Mark, talk to me about this line judge mechanic.
Well, like you said, Kirk, I think it's pretty much textbook. He got off the pylon. He got deep off the pylon. He's in great position to judge how that ball crossed. The player reached out. He was right there on it. That's what we want. That's how we want to officiate that play.
He's got still eyes. His movement's, I think, perfect. Looks like we had a flag down. I didn't notice that, but yeah, you could question whether this is a touchdown or not, but he is in the position we want him to be. He's got the best seat to make that ruling, rotating into the action of the play to keep the players in front of him. I think that looks really, really good.
Let's see where that flag came from, Kirk, if we can pick it up. Maybe something happened, a hold or something up there.
Yeah, it looks like it was
Came out
probably
fast.
about the spot where maybe a hold might occur right here or there. We just don't have a good angle on that.
Okay.
I'm sure it was a perfect flag. All right, so we've got another textbook play. We're looking at the top head linesman again, moves to the goal line. May debate whether he should be a little wider again. Give yourself some space off that pylon. But I like how he comes in calm with the signal on short of the goal line. You know, we're at the goal line, and we come back and officiate down the spot. That's what we're looking for on those plays short, and they don't quite achieve the goal line. He's got great confidence. I think we're in good shape.
So one thing that I would add to this is we need to be talking to these players right now because there's a lot of ripping out. They're trying to rip the ball out. I want to make sure, and these officials may have, but we need to get in there and cut out all the knuckleheads in there that's trying to cause something that we don't need to have.
Great point. How about this near wing? Does he need to come in this far?
No, I don't think he needs to come in that far. He sure doesn't need to come in that hard with his hand in the air. He's not the covering official here. Stay back.
What I really like is the way the crew accordion style. They come in like an accordion to dead ball officiate the play.
Yeah, I'm with Mark. I think as umpire, he's got to, after that play is over, he's got to come in strong with a voice. Those are his guys to make sure that nobody does anything stupid. But yeah, it looks good. All right, I've got close but not textbook on this play. There's a few pieces. So we go back to, we're snapping inside the 5, so our wings are getting to the money line at the snap, which is putting us in a little bit of a bind here because we really need that head linesman to read forward backwards, but yet he's kind of at a bad angle from the goal line. So here we've got a wing that's not, he didn't quite get to the goal line. He's not wide enough. So he's signaling from the 1 yard line. I think those of us that have been around the game a long time see these subtleties, and we're concerned. He's also not rotating his body. No reason to signal right into the field of play. Watch those players go out of bounds. Back off that pylon. Anybody else got anything on this one?
Yeah, let's talk about the back judge for just a second. Let's take a look and see if he moves because he has to in order to see players or if he's just drifting.
Good point. Still eyes would be better here, Mike?
Yeah, what we try and do when we're this compressed is we try and find a nice spot underneath the uprights and try and officiate the full play from there unless we need to get a little closer in order to sell. But remember, the closer we get, the lesser we see.
Would this be where you're wanting to focus your eyes and not ball watch? We certainly don't need us watching the ball as the back judge.
Yeah, I mean, do we have an OPI here? Or was the pass behind the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, definitely behind the line of scrimmage. You see him kind of complain a little bit at the end of the play here, like he was held. Again, we got to make sure we're watching off the ball and not just focusing on the football.
One thing I'd like to add, Kurt, at the beginning of the play, my preference as a referee is I want to be wider than what he is. He's lined up pretty tight in there, almost straight line with the quarterback. But I want to be wider, almost, yeah, in that area there. I mean, not that wide, but at least out to that hash mark. I want to be a couple yards off that end guy. So I think that would help that official. I think he may be a little bit tight too to the line of scrimmage. So I think the preference would be to be a little bit wider and a little bit deeper.
Yeah, good comment. I think we see a lot of that. I think our white hats are way too tight. They need to get wider. A lot of our plays have that same situation. All right, now we're going to go to an extra point. There was some debate when we first started watching this. This happens to be a 2-point conversion, so a snap from the 3 that results short of the goal. And my comment is I think we look goofy to be signaling no good from the wing. I understand the wing has progress, but my personal preference, and I don't believe it's in the manual, is if we just come in with a spot and the absence of a touchdown is the indicator that we don't have a score, like on any other down. And I think there's some other opinions on the panel here.
I think we need to sell that call with the signal myself.
Nate, what was your voice or your vote?
My vote is the stop the clock signal. There isn't a perfect signal here in the fact the clock isn't running, but to signal something, I mean, Mark's right in the fact that if we just stand there, we look like doofuses too.
Yeah.
So the one hand in the air is start the 40-second clock. That doesn't seem right either. So I've kind of defaulted to recommending to my crew just to stop the clock signal, and then we go to the kickoff.
Yeah, we could comment
And
here
that's,
that our wing never did get to the goal line at the snap like we would want him to either.
and of course, what Nate said was kind of key. It's pregame. We don't want one guy doing one thing and the other guy doing something different.
Might be something we want to get addressed in the manual to get us all consistent with that. I don't believe it's in there. All right, we're going to move to, we'll talk a little bit about an umpire. So this one is snapped from the 4-yard line. I like how the wing comes in. We said maybe he could stop a little sooner. I like how he comes in, not running with his arms up, but if he stopped about right there, we thought that might be a little better distance. There's no reason to come in and make contact.
And this is a good
players.
spot. And that would also be a good spot for the back judge to stop as well. Unless we've got a rough game and we need to be closer as far as present with our voice and our physical presence.
My umpire comment was you can see the umpire, and I think this was an old signal. You can see the umpire put his hand on his head. I think that was at one time some sort of indicator that the ball is in the end zone. Umpires now we want when the wings are crashing to find the football, we like to point where if we see the ball, we just want to point where the ball is to help them hone in on locating it in case it is a score or short. They will be coming in hard, knowing the information they have, but finding the football might be the missing piece. So in this case, it might have been hard to find it even for the umpire. So now we're going to snap it from the 6. So we're outside the, actually I can't tell that a 5 or a 6. This one is really bad. This is one of those that we've got an inadvertent whistle near the goal line. The ball is stripped. You can see the ball bouncing around right here. Whistle was blown. To make matters worse, the wing comes in pointing that I've got him down. I think he's just making that up because I don't think there was any moment where that runner was down, or if he was, he didn't have the football. Just a bad situation. There's no reason to blow this whistle soon. Make sure the play is over. On top of that, it's really opposite side of the field. I just noticed that. We're probably on the near side, making that whistle even less relevant from all the way over there.
So, Kurt, my preference is that you should try to stay away from that call if it's away from you. So I guess I'm trying to say in the same words is let the near wing, the wing who has closest to the ball, make that call first, and then the other wing can come in and support if needed. So I think that's what got the crew in trouble is that I think philosophy-wise, we got to trust our officials. We got to trust each other out there, guys. And if the near wing didn't have them in, the far wing should say, okay, I didn't see leather, I didn't see ball, I'm guessing. And I think that's what it was. But the key is we got to trust one another. What do you say, Nate?
Well, this is the opposite of that first play as a wing. The first play, we don't blow our whistle because we don't see the ball and it ends up going the other way. This one, we blow our whistle when we shouldn't. If you don't see that ball, this is in the middle of a pile and you're on the far side, stay off the whistle. If you don't see the ball, you don't see him down, don't blow your whistle as a wing. There's no need for a whistle here.
Yeah, there's nothing. I don't think there's a deep enough hole to climb in once you've got an IW. So things we can do to eliminate IWs, we've got to focus on them.
But let's take that one step further, though, Kurt.
Go ahead.
If we have an IW, we got to handle it right away. If it is an IW, let's fix it. Let's not try to pretend it didn't happen. Let's get it fixed and make it right.
I like that, Mark. Keep talking. What you go a little deeper with that. Maybe even Mike Kelley can help because I know he's probably reported an IW as well.
He's probably.
You mean I've had one or two?
Oh no. I know you haven't had one, but you've.
So on your crew, Mike, take us through it. Now you got an IW, or since you had an IW, take us through what you're thinking about and talking to your crew about.
Well, absolutely. You want to have people step forward and say, "Yeah, I did," and sometimes that does require having somebody come up to them and ask them, "Did you see the ball, or was the ball loose, or you don't know where the ball was?" But we have to, I agree, we have to take care of business right then and there. And, hopefully we're able to do so. And then if we're microphoned, we might make an announcement. If we're not, even if we are, we might tell the coaches involved through the wings, probably, this is what happened.
All three of you guys are veteran white hats as well. Do you go talk to the head coach of the team that was on the butt end of that always, or would you just play on as opposed to giving him a time to vent to you?
A lot of factors involved, right? What kind of game do we have? What kind of coaches do we have? With this particular green team, probably not a bad idea to go over there and tell them. I know you're not going to like what I got to tell you, but here's what happened.
Especially if green comes up with the ball after the inadvertent whistle, you're better off going and dealing with it with the green coach than putting it off.
Yep.
How about if you're the one that blew the IW? Do you make an appearance in front of that coach?
Well, yeah. You know what? Telling the truth will never get you in trouble. It'll set you free. So, and if the coach gets upset, I'm sorry, coach. It sucks, but I'm sorry. We're gonna make this. We have to make this right, and this is what the play was. I mean, when I'm looking at this, and of course we're COVID Thursday quarterbacking here on this crew, but the umpire looks over there, the referee looks over there. It's like, why do we have a whistle? Maybe we have to go to that official and, like what Mike said earlier, saying, did you see the ball? Because over here we got it loose. And let's talk about this for a second and get this play right. Slow down. So this is one of those instances that we rarely have an inadvertent whistle, right? And we don't want to have an inadvertent whistle. But the important thing is, if we talk about when we have an IW and trust one another in the crew and step up and say, I had an IW, then we're going to get out of this and move on. I for one know that somebody came to me one time in a JV game, and I was a wing guy, and I had an IW. And they came to me, and I was the senior guy. I was the gray-haired guy that still has gray hair. And I admire those officials that came to me and say, Mark, did you have a whistle? Because he wasn't down. And you know what? I said, yeah, I sure did. I blew that, guys. Thanks for coming to me. Let's get this fixed. So for you younger guys out there, go up to Rick Rouse and say, Rick, maybe we should talk about this. Move on. Let's move on.
All right, let's move on. All right, this one, another very difficult play to officiate with five-man mechanics. We hopefully have our mechanics manual giving us the best chance to officiate it. So we're going to see a hook route, top of the screen, caught right at the goal line. Again, our official is in a pretty good position. Dave, is this the one we were talking about down at distance? I don't think it is. There could be two money lines in this case if it's third or fourth down. Again, I think the official is moving to the goal line in good position. Whether you agree with the call or not, he's got the position we need him to be in to see the play. You guys have anything else to add on this one?
I just wanted to comment on that back judge again. He does a nice job. This is what we want. We want somebody that's going to set up shop underneath those uprights and officiate the play from there, move when necessary.
I like it. Looks good. All right, we're going to snap it from the 7. Oh, this is the one where we got two money lines. And it is third down, third and about 3 or 4. And these are downs that are very, very complex, because if they're short of this line to gain, they're going to possibly have to kick a field goal or choose to go for it. But we've got two money lines, and you'll see the wing at the top of the screen move to the first money line, see the pile, and then shift to the second money line. The wing at the bottom of the screen, I think, held up at or just went straight to the goal line. But I've got this in here just to talk about the two money line issue. We've talked about that in the past as well. And he ends up breaking free. Hopefully we have a slow whistle on that. Okay.
Mark, is this the kind of width that you're looking at as an R? He's about 9 yards off, maybe a little further.
Yeah, I don't know about depth now, though.
I think he's okay there.
What do we say, 14, 15 yards? Is that the number? 12 to 15?
Yeah.
Off the ball or off the line of scrimmage?
One comment that came up in chat that I wanted to address there is the umpire moving. I actually, as a wing, I noticed that umpire set up right on the goal line. Umpires find a place other than right on the goal line, and maybe that's why he was stepping toward the line of scrimmage. All I know is, as a wing, I fear seeing a umpire in my way down the line.
It's usually
expand on that. I like it. Keep going.
Well, no, I'm just saying that umpire, if he could set up to start the play, either a yard in the end zone or a yard on the field, then he doesn't have to move to get off the goal line. Because if he's on that goal line, when there's a money play right on the goal line and I have to look through an umpire, I'm going to be guessing.
There it is. That's right. That's what we want.
Yeah, great comment. They're usually not the thinnest. They're not the easiest to see around either. So, yeah, do not camp on the goal line.
So let's stop this, Kurt.
You got it.
So what do we recognize on this guys on defense? I'm just throwing this question out there, and Mike Kelley can answer it for me. What do you say, Mike?
Press.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think we're talking about press coverage.
Yeah.
But the back judge won't be looking on the H side where the press is. He's going to be looking on the other side.
Yeah, but let's just talk just coverage at the snap so we all can think about that in our games to recognize defenses. We've got to start recognizing what the coverages are and how that can hit us down the road as far as how we're officiating this play now.
So here we've got a wing official that stays at the line of scrimmage, and we want our wings to be moving towards the goal line at the snap. Different than snapping inside the 5, our movement should be towards the goal line, not bust ass to get there and stop officiating, but if we start thinking we've got a money line less than 10 yards away, we've got a better chance of being there or close to it by the time the ball gets there. We're not going to stay back and read run pass. We're going to officiate a pass play while we've already moved downfield. Do I think this is a complete failure? I think he's actually a lot better officiating this particular play from that line of scrimmage than being caught right there at probably the 1 or 2 yard line and trying to see this too close. So I think it actually works out better for him.
You know, I got one concern though, is we got press coverage, and I feel like he's looking in the backfield and not watching the press coverage.
Well, I got to go back a little ways, don't I? So you're suggesting that we're ball watching instead of officiating? Yeah.
He should be watching that press coverage right in front of him, and he doesn't seem to move with it. It's hard to see on this film, but
yeah, I'd agree. I think he is probably looking in the backfield. Especially if we need to be covering the goal line, we got to be coming downfield. So his eyes really should be on that action.
But Kurt, I guess we have to balance that out too a little bit. And by that I mean we don't want to be running and trying to officiate a line. I'd rather have him steal, and maybe he should have broken a little bit, maybe 2 or 3 yards, and then stopped. I just don't. I don't want him running to try to get to the goal line, and all of a sudden he ran up on the play.
There is no doubt if you were to try to get to the goal line immediately on this play, you would not see any action at all. And so my message is here, we've got to be aware that the goal line is yours. And I don't believe he made a move to cover that. And starting to just migrate to the goal line at the snap, I think puts us in a better position.
And maybe casually, not running, but I think if he got down 2 or 3 yards, maybe to the 5 or so, he's still in a great position kind of for both calls. This is a tough deal right there at that pylon. Really tough.
Well, and something else that could make it tougher is the track team over there.
All right, now we're moving away from the goal line. We're now still inside the 10, and we want to talk about the sideline. This is a sideline pass, so there's no doubt that it's in the end zone. So the goal line is not the threat, whether he catches it inbounds or not. And so last Tuesday night, we talked about we had a wing that didn't straddle the sideline on the pass play he had. This wing is actually on the pylon, good position. I actually think he could do better to. He does have goal line, so no, I think we're in good position here. But rotating to the field of play and posing for the camera is not what we want. We want that view of the action here. I can't remember so then the back judge signals. Mike, do we need a signal out of the back judge? Does he know if this is a touchdown or not?
Not on that play. And again, as some of our chat people have notified, he doesn't need to move either. He can stay put. Take a couple of steps if he wants to the hash at the max in this case, but he just keeps coming for no particular reason.
I think that wing does exactly what we want. He's in the position we want him. He's on that line. He's watching. If we could just watch the whole play, I suppose this ball could actually have come out last second. He takes his eyes off the player. So we're close. But
looks like the back judge even threw in a whistle for good measure.
Nate or Mark, anything else to add to this one?
Nope.
I got somebody else chiming in here. Let me see if I can admit. Okay. We're snapping. This one is also from the 9. Another play at the sideline. What do you think about this one? I thought this looked pretty darn good. We do have goal line as a wing, but we got a pass play. I liked it. You guys find anything we need to improve on this one?
Sometimes working 5-man is a pain in the butt. He got as far as he could get. My only thought is maybe just meander a step or two before you signal touchdown, and that way you're signaling touchdown at the goal line. But
yeah, I always like a signal better from the goal line. That's probably getting down into the deep weeds, but yeah, if that's what we're critical on this one, I think we did a pretty damn good job. Anybody else got something on this? Back judge is in good position, seeing the action. I like it. Looks good. Another angle. All right, we're going to move to the 11-yard line. So now we're outside the 10, so the back judge has double duty. He has both the end line and the goal line. We see him lined up, I think, in a good position if this is where he thinks he can best officiate this play. Well, this is the one I wanted to talk pre-snap, but it didn't let me include it in here. So our pre-snap is 2nd down and about 6 or 7. So this is not a money line anymore at this point in time. It is not a decision down if they don't make it. So we really don't need to worry about that line.
Why don't we, Kurt?
It's not that we don't have to worry about it, but it is not a critical line because the next down will be snapped as 3rd down and not a decision down to kick it or go for it. And so we can think more in terms of, well, I guess we're outside the 10, so the wing doesn't have the goal line anyway, even though this wing moves up and signals touchdown, even though it was not his responsibility. But I do like how he rotates to see the action out of bounds.
So the question is, for me right now, and Chuck Hickey says it's the back judge goal line, but whose pylon is it? The question is the pylon, not the goal line, it's the pylon.
Well, the wing has the sideline version of that pylon, and the back judge who is not getting to that goal line soon enough has goal line. So the wing should be able to determine whether that ball is inside or outside the pylon and whether he stepped out of bounds. But in this case, there's no doubt that it did cross the goal line. So I believe our mechanics manual asks the wing to punch this in.
Okay, the snap's coming from outside the 10, so this is not the line judge's goal line. This is going to be the back judge's goal line, but it is the line judge's sideline. I'd rather see him on the sideline instead of a yard deep there once that runner gets by him, and just give a punch to that back judge and then let the back judge go up with the touchdown. It's his goal line.
I agree with you, Nate. It's a back judge's goal line. If nothing else, just slow down, guys. We're not in a big hurry to make this call because everything's stopped right now. Time's not a factor. He's out of bounds. Let's just slow down. Pre-game, right, Mike?
Absolutely. My only question though is how many players are between the back judge and the sideline that back judge has to look through in order to determine whether he's crossed the goal line or not. Like if he was in perfect position on the goal line right about now, because he broke late, how many guys would he have to be looking through?
So let's say this actually fell short of the goal line. I assume we would want to come together and talk about what information we have. And at that point in time, the wing could provide the details he has. And if he says, oh, yeah, no doubt he got it inside the pylon and it was across the goal line, we'd come up with a signal at that point.
Yeah, exactly right. Sometimes you have to wait and talk and then come up with a signal.
I would imagine if that back judge doesn't have information right here because he's got traffic, he's got to come over strong. He's got to come through that traffic after the play's over and get some information as well.
You know, that's exactly right, Kurt. We got to communicate, especially on these scoring plays. You know, that's what the snap we're saying. We're saying on this particular play, you got the goal line. I'm pointing to the back judge, where the back judge is telling me my goal line. So that means right now as a wing guy, I'm not going to signal that touchdown because we've already determined who's going to make that signal. And then if the back judge says, you know, I got caught up with a lot of players, can you help me? Then, yeah, I had him inbounds. It looked good to me.
You could even say, I got no doubt he was in.
Yeah.
Noticing in the chat room, we're having a little bit of a question or two regarding the goal line extended. Does any of the panelists have a comment on that?
Go ahead. I talk too much.
Nate.
On that previous play?
Yeah.
Not on this one.
No, I went too far.
This one here, Nate. Nope, not on this one.
Sorry. Let's just talk through it while I find where I'm supposed to be.
Well, the previous one we snapped from the 11. So as a wing, goal line extended, I'm going to have a tough time getting to the goal line anyway because it's not mine. He was running, so he wasn't an airborne player. So all he has to do is get the ball across the goal line extended as a running player. Now, if he's airborne, he's got to get the ball inside that pylon. Is that what the question is?
Yeah, I think that's what was probably talked about. Hey, I want to keep moving. I've only got 15 minutes, about a dozen more plays. I want to shift to a safety situation or goal line coming out. And we talk about if we're snapping inside the 5, wings have got to have the goal line responsibility again. And this is a play we looked at last year that is just a mess for a 5-man mechanic situation. So I'll play it again. But in essence, we've got a fumble from inside the end zone. The ball comes out of the end zone, actually gets picked up at the half-yard line and carried into the end zone at the pylon. And there is just a lot of stuff going on here. I like our wing is in good position on the goal line. That's where we want him. After the snap, he moves to the goal line. It's a passing play, so he's actually got pass coverage. So it's just a mess of a play to cover. Ball's bouncing around. We ultimately, I think, probably have a touchdown by the defense, but they ruled him down at the 1 as a turnover going the other way. I think the white hat's actually in a good position. He's wide. He's got the end line.
Why is he walking up, though? He's walking into this play. It's not even over. Right?
Stay back then.
Yeah, he needs to stay on that end line. He almost walked up to the ball.
Good point. Tough duty right here. Should have got some bonus money for that play. But I like the calm. I mean, we're under control. We don't get all animated with this. We call it like we think we got it and go with it. So I think they did a pretty good job. So these are, I guess I'm showing these plays as an example of why the mechanics are critical. If we're true to our mechanics, we're putting ourselves in a better position to get the play right. I apologize for the sound on this. Let me see if I can turn it off. Sorry about that. This one's going to be another one where we're going to get a bonus check to officiate. You ready for this one? All right, White Hats. We're going to have a snap that's muffed at the 1 yard line. The quarterback's trying to pick it up, never does really possess it.
Whose goal line is it?
Sounds like a loaded question. We're snapping it from the 5, so maybe it needed to have been communicated. But let's just say it's the White Hats.
I would guess this is the Wings, but if it's the White Hats, that's a. When in doubt, he's down in the field of play.
What I'm gonna do as a White Hat, I'm gonna go to my wing guy and say, "What did you see? Can you help me out? I'll give you half my paycheck because I got to make sure we get this call right. So let's get it right first.
That's a big one, isn't it?
If there's doubt, maybe we should go look for help.
How come you don't talk to your trusty umpire? Maybe he could help you.
I was thinking the back judge probably had this one.
Mike Kelley, you got anything to help us out on this, position-wise, or maybe where your eyes are at the snap? I don't know. Is there anything that can?
Well, I agree. I think this is a Wings call because we're at the 5 yard line. And as a R, if we're at the 5 going out, I'm on the end line, and I'm going to officiate the play from there.
I don't know why we don't have a side view of that guy. Again, a tough play. But this comment about whose goal line is the critical piece. If we don't have anybody watching the goal line, it makes this play even more difficult to get information that would help us out.
So a good rule of thumb is, I always try to, before the play snap, I'm telling my wing guys, it's your goal line or it's my goal line. So we've got to communicate that before the snap.
Yeah, see, I think that ball is still a little bit loose right there.
It is.
It's still rolling around. I tell you what, either way, the defense has a victory here. Whether they're pinned at the half-yard line.
And I would just say, if the quarterback, in fact, had that ball and got pushed backwards, we've got progress.
Yep.
But there has to be a time component as well when we talk about an interception, a completion, or a recovery.
It's a good comment. All right, we're going to have another challenging one. So now we've got shotgun formation. There's no doubt whose goal line it is in this case. This is more of a discussion about force, but this can be a little crazy. Darn it! What the heck happened? I thought I'm going to have to just skip over that one because we don't have the good angle. Oh, here it is. Here's a better angle of it. All right, we're going to snap it from about the 16-yard line. Ball goes over the head of the quarterback. Rolling around, still rolling around in the end zone. So I throw this in here just, I guess, for the panel to maybe talk through what can we do to prepare for this. Obviously, focus is going to be critical. If we're if we're thinking about something else, a lot's going to happen here, and we're going to probably mess something up. But in this case, our white hat signals touchback. So this goes into the force conversation. The ball gets into the end zone by the snap and not by the action of B. So the ball gets into that end zone. So we cannot have a touchback. That's the only thing we can't have. We can either have a touchdown or a safety at this point in time. This happened to be stored in my goal line folder, and I thought, oh, I got to show this one because it is a tough play, a lot going on. White hats, would you look for any assistance on this? Because sometimes you're maybe too close to the action to be able to see it all.
The only thing I'm going to look for is being lost. I'm looking lost right now because I'm going, oh, no. So, yeah, I would look for assistance. Again, if we're in doubt about something, especially on this thing here, let's just kill the clock, talk about it, and then make it the signal.
I think this is a play where we have to get it right, and if slowing it down gets it right, we should take advantage of that time. Go ahead, Mike. Sorry I interrupted.
Yeah, I was just going to say my comment is that once that ball gets into the end zone, I've got to continue on to the end line, just in case it does get pushed out.
So once the ball's in the end zone, you're saying get to the end line because that's really the only. That shouldn't be the only, but the likely complicated factor at that point.
Correct.
Good comment.
Right, because we could take away our choices are safety or touchdown by B.
That's a good point. And there's nobody that's going to help you on the end line.
Correct.
You're going to have some wings that are migrating back for anything else that might happen between there and the goal line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boy, there's a lot going on there for you white hats.
Yeah, and I think if you see that ball go over the quarterback's head, you can just go. He's got his hips facing the player. If he's got his hips facing the line of scrimmage, he's got a bigger view. He can backpedal to that end line as necessary. Right, we're going to beat the ball to where it's going to go.
I would imagine, back to that, let's slow it down and get it right. The last thing we would want to do is signal touchback here and then overrule that and call it a safety. That puts doubt in our fans and coaches and players' eyes.
Look like knuckleheads.
Yeah, I think if we slow this down and do it right at the beginning, even though it took us a little while to get there, I would imagine most coaches don't know what this ruling should be either. They just think it should be ruled in their favor. All right, let's see if we got another one. Actually, I got to go back to my. All right, so we're going to snap it from the 6-yard line. I want to talk about the referee's position on this, or at least that's the comment I've got on this. And I don't know why I have that comment, because I don't know that necessarily is worth. Did somebody join us? No. So we're snapped inside the 10, but outside the 5, so that's the referee's goal line. That's what I'm looking for. Maybe I saw Hickey's comment there. I think we need to be a lot wider when we're in this situation as a white hat, when we've got goal line and end line responsibility. Probably be closer to the goal line, more likely to be an issue with the goal line, but be much, much wider. Probably wider than our normal. Go ahead.
Where are we snapping, Kirk?
We are snapping from the 6.
Okay.
So I think we want
when it's that close. Me personally, I tend to tell the wings it's their goal line because I got the end line, but that's my personal preference. What do you say, Mike?
I agree with you, Mark. I would certainly want to be a little wider than this guy is, and I'm hoping that's a left-handed quarterback.
At the 6, are you going to still take the goal line?
No.
Maybe at the 7, I would say then, but I guess the wings always have a better angle on that. But Rick Rouse says we need to get wider. I bet Rick could get that goal line though.
He's had a few of those calls in his day.
Yeah, one at the Bronco Stadium, which was a great call.
All right, so here we've got a snap at the 14. Oh, this is a failure to tackle is what this is. Ball pops loose and goes the other way. So, White Hats, this is a reminder. You have the goal line. You have the goal line. It's your goal line. Don't move too fast downfield. Ball pops loose. It's kind of a Haley's Comet play, Mark, one that we don't see a lot of. But just a reminder, White Hats, stay back.
I don't know what's the signal the White Hat's giving at the end here.
I don't know if that's.
Is he inbounds? He's signaling he has a guy inbounds too, or what?
He's got a question. I don't know. Maybe. What
It
happened?
looks to me like he's got a finger whistle in his left hand.
Could
he was going to come up with his other arm. I got you. Okay.
And I think the wing over on the far side is trying to make a tackle.
Yeah, he seems to be a little bit tight to the field on this one.
A little?
Again, start a yard off, guys. Start a yard off the line of scrimmage.
Be an umpire. I like those guys that want to be an umpire. Then run past the goal line, signal touchdown. This could be some old film too. I don't know. Before we had our mechanic. All right, we're winding down here. Let's see. I've got a block. So this again a tough play. We're snapping it from the 15 or 16. We're going to have a block in the back close to us here. A block in the back called right here. Whether or not it was a block in the back, I like that our eyes are here and not officiating this football. We might have some help here. I think it's a suspect block in the back. Almost looks more goofy than I think there was actually any contact on the play. I like how the wing has moved backwards, letting this play get in front of him. It's tough to officiate a block in the back and try to get a sideline covered. Touchdown.
Whoa. So if you've thrown a flag, guys, don't signal a touchdown.
Well, it's not even his goal line.
Well, but irregardless, even if it's snapped inside the 5, if you throw a flag, you know who it's good. If it's going to be on A, you should not be signaling a touchdown. And yes, Kurt, you're right, but the back judge doesn't realize whose goal line it is.
So we got a few failures here. Anybody else have anything that can help us out on this one to make this play a little bit easier to officiate? Yeah, the back judge is just way out of position, not recognizing the play that he's got goal line. I assume he didn't give it up because I think we're at the 15 or 16 yard line. So and he's at the middle of the end zone, which tells me he knows he's got the goal line.